Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Racer here, bringing you another Need for Speed video, and today we're going to be talking about Need for Speed Underground 3 and the possibility of Ghost Games making this. Now, this isn't some like piss pot theory where, oh, I heard it from this person, I heard it from this person, I heard it from this person, that Underground 3 might still be a thing, maybe, possibly. So, yeah, no, what happened at Gamescom, Videogamer.com came up to Marcus Nielsen, which is the head kind of the running Ghost Games, and then you have multiple designers working, or studio heads. He's pretty much the studio head at the, I think that's what his title is. So it's there's lots of names and places for a bunch of different designers. But anyway, he was talking to Videogamer.com. He said, if someone came up to me and said, you make Underground 3 with Frostbite 3 and with exactly the same features, you'll go back and sell 15 million copies, then yes, I would build that game. I would, but it's not that simple. So, Need for Speed Undercover, or Need for Speed Underground 2 was launched in November 2003, with a sequel following later that year, and I'm just quoting words right now. But yes, that's pretty much what happened. I've had a lot of feelings about this game. I played this game a lot. I don't think you can really be a Need for Speed fan and not at least play this game. You might not have liked it, but you're definitely in the minority for there. In the minority when you say you don't like it, because it is pretty much was to most people the pinnacle of the game. I don't know. I think it was probably it was definitely one of the most fleshed out Need for Speed games. Other than that, it's been they were on a really, really slow decline, and then I think once 2009 came around, like with Hot Pursuit, it started raising back up, in my opinion. I like the run. I think Undercover was garbage, but after Hot Pursuit came out, I was really enjoying it. The fact that it went back to that before Underground came out, and with Rivals, it looks like it's trying to do a ton of stuff. I'll get to that in a little bit. So, my thoughts on Ghost Games making Underground 3. So, from what I've seen of Ghost Games so far, I'm really enjoying it. They've actually gotten full control over the Need for Speed franchise. Criterion does not have control of it anymore. They're still helping with this game, but I doubt they'll be helping with the next one. I really like Ghost Games because they seem like they are very passionate about making a Need for Speed game. My problem with Most Wanted is that it was a Burnout game. My thinking was Burnout was maybe working on a Burnout game, and EA came to them like, oh, yeah, shit, we just canned Black Box Studios, so yeah, whatever you're working on, can you switch it up to make it a Need for Speed game? Because that would just be great. So I'm like, oh yeah, okay, alright, so make this, call it Need for Speed Most Wanted, people will buy it, boom, you got a game. So that's pretty much what happened. I was trying to, like, when the game came out, was trying to defend it because it was like, oh, it's still fun, but after I played Burnout Paradise, I was like, dang, this is very similar to Need for Speed Most Wanted, and not a good way. Like, it copied and pasted a ton of shit. So the multiplayer just did not work. I think Criterion needs to be around. It needs to be a developer. I like Criterion. I like the racing games. Now, when I say this statement, I do not mean this in a bad way whatsoever. Criterion is like the Call of Duty developers of racing games. When I say Call of Duty, I know if any word makes them, but I'm trying to get back to the point, saying that they're fast-paced, they're Twitch games, there's explosions, there's big things, there's fast things, there's crazy things, there's more explosions. So that's why I think we need Burnout. I like having that kind of gameplay. If they could go back to Burnout Revenge type style racing, where it's just you're closed into a track and you're just hitting cars and taking out people, and take that to a multiplayer perspective and just redefine it, that would be amazing. I like Burnout Paradise a lot, but it's a good game. I'm not gonna lie, I sunk a ton of hours in Burnout Paradise, like well over 100 hours on my PS3, and I played with my cousin. Ton of hours on my stunt runs like crazy. So I don't in any way want Criterion to fail. I know people that personally hate Criterion just because they think they ruin Need for Speed, but shit, you can't ruin a series that's 20 years old by just messing up one game. Now, if you continuously keep doing that, Call of Duty, then yeah, you'll start turning people completely off the series. But you only need one really good game to completely change that and put it back on the map. And I think Need for Speed Rivals is going that way. It looks like a really good mashup of almost the past 10 years of Need for Speed. You have your customization in there from, I would say, the earlier parts of, Most Wanted. It has that kind of realistic customization, no neon, no crazy things like that. But you still have that censored, the vinyls, the wraps, the liveries, the paint, the rims, all that good stuff. I can't wait to play with that. Then you have the progression system with the speed points actually being worth things. It's amazing. And that's, definitely a good progression system through through almost all the most wanted games, anything. And then you have the great gameplay driving mechanics from Criterion, and everyone working at Ghost Games has had at least 5 years prior in racing game development, so they know how to make a racing game. Criterion Games, it has that Criterion feel to it, just takes off the heavy drifting mechanics, and it made it a lot better. You have Frostbite 3, which is an amazing engine. I personally think Frostbite 2, when Battlefield 3 launched, was a really kind of mediocre thing because it was rushed. You could tell it wasn't really optimized for PCs when it was probably made for that console. So my thinking is Frostbite 3, I've seen when they've done iterations with other games, it worked out really well. So I'm really confident that Frostbite 3 will run great. Downside, it runs at 30 frames per second, but I think if you have enough stuff going on at the same time, it'll look good. I think once you could like get above that 60 frame, yeah, it would help, but that's just one of my things on it. So then you have All Drive, which is laying over. So I think if Ghost Games does a good job, hits out of the parks, gets 9s and 10s, and maybe 8s and 9s, then they have a good shot at making Underground 3 and putting the trust in that developer, us as gamers putting the trust in that developer to make a Need for Speed Underground game. Then yeah, I think it could work. But again, it's nostalgia. I mean, he says it in there. He says it feels nostalgia for that car culture. It was spurred through Fast and Furious and all that kind of stuff. And I think Fast and Furious has completely moved on to that. They're about car chases and fast racing. So Fast and Furious is more about now Burnout than it was than it is Need for Speed. When Need for Speed is really Fast and Furious when they kind of changed it over. So yeah, I think nostalgia is a good thing, and it's nostalgia for a reason. It's something that we cherished from a long time ago, and we want to have good things and feelings about it. What happens if Ghost Games makes Underground 3 and it's gonna be a complete different interpretation of Underground from Black Box, because they're a different studio. They're a European studio. They're not based in Montreal or America. So those guys, they're around those types of cars in the early 2000s, and in Europe you were still around those high exotic fast cars, and that's what Need for Speed, when it was created back in the 90s, that's what it was about. It was about racing fast cars, exotic cars that you could not afford, and chasing from the cops in this made-up world. Then when 2000 came around, it was about taking these cars you see on the street and putting and customizing them extremely and just dumping the cops until Most Wanted rolls around. But then when you see Most Wanted came around, it kind of drawed back from the customization of Underground 2. So it's this very mechanic. You can't, if they could incorporate all of it, then yeah, it would be really cool. So I think that Ghost Games could do it. And the fact that they have established that they know this is a thing is good. It means they're not like Criterion where they just completely said, no, I don't know, the Underground 3, I don't know what this is. I have never heard of it. So the fact that they played it, they know what it is, gives me hope that they could do a good job with it. So if you stick around for the whole video, thank you. I appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I put up a ton of content. Make sure to check out my Facebook, my Twitter, and follow me for all that stuff. That's a fast way for me to keep you guys updated. And yeah, that's it. So thanks, guys.